Money FM 89.3. Best of breakfast. Morning Shot.
Welcome to Morning Shot. Following the growing pressure from his own party, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has announced his resignation. He'll also be stepping down as leader of Canada's Liberal Party, but will remain in both roles until the Liberal Party chooses a replacement. Meanwhile, to allow his party to choose his successor, a lengthy process that will involve campaigning, Mr. Trudeau has suspended Parliament until March the 24th. A general election is expected to follow, but ahead of that, and for more insights, we're joined by Andreas Schotter, Professor of International Business from the Ivey Business School at University of Western Ontario. Andreas, welcome to Money FM. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Audrey. I'm happy to talk to you.
It's great to have you on to unpack all of these recent events. So, Andreas, for months, Trudeau faced repeated questions about stepping down, even as he vowed to stay on as the Liberal Party leader. So, in your view, what finally kind of tipped the scales for him to make this presumably difficult decision to resign as PM?
I think the events of the last 4 weeks, including stepping down on the problems that Chrystia Freeland is now pointing out and her stepping down was a major trigger for that one, but also the very erratic and unpredictable behavior of incoming President Trump, interim U.S. President Trump, combined, and the rather failed approach to calm the waters when Prime Minister Trudeau went to Mar-a-Lago last month to see whether the proposed tariffs could be taken out of the equation of the inauguration period, finally tipped the scale towards his announcement that he might resign.
Yeah, so some key reasons you shared as far as to why he resigned. And he also cited reasons like parliamentary gridlock and internal party tensions and how they kind of hampered his ability to govern effectively. So what do you think this reveals about the stability within the Liberal Party? Could you perhaps explain how internal party dynamics might contribute to a leader's downfall or ousting, if you will?
I think Prime Minister Trudeau has shown that he would not bow to this internal pressure. He built the party and the government, the minority government, much more around his person and its maybe name recognition, family name recognition, which was surprising to watch for such a long, long period of time. That's a record minority government in Canada. Don't forget this. And any decisions in Parliament needed support from mainly the NDP, the third strongest party in Canada. And I think this relationship is also fading in a way and triggered Prime Minister Trudeau's announcement. But he has not stepped down yet, which further destabilizes the situation. And the government itself, not the government, the Liberal Party itself seems to be a little bit in limbo right now.
Yeah. All right. So in recent months, let's look at the bigger picture here. So Trudeau's government has faced some growing criticisms. They range from pocketbook issues like inflation and cost of living, all the way to immigration and environmental policies. So do these issues align with the concept of, let's just say, fatigue in a long-standing government, you think?
I think the fatigue is not just in the government. The fatigue is also in the population. There's more and more noise coming from Canadians who are usually, at least pre-COVID, not that explicit about toppling a potentially a leader or being dissatisfied with a leader. And this is, I think, getting through to the government, and not just to Prime Minister Trudeau, but also to his party colleagues and ministers and so on. And I think, yes, there may be a fatigue, but I think the pressure comes from the population, from Canadians.
Okay. And so you spoke of the dissatisfaction. So even with Trudeau stepping aside now, polls suggest that the Liberal Party may face defeat in the upcoming elections. What's your perspective on how this could unfold?
Again, this is part of the history of Prime Minister Trudeau's government over time. There have been lots of incidents where ministers have been dismissed or ministers were forced to step down, or any party official that would oppose his view would eventually fade out of the government responsibility. And I think Canadians don't like that anymore. And then the same within the government. There's no trust. You see who's running right now. There's potentially two people who may announce their intention to run. Foreign Minister Chrystia Freeland and Central Banker Mark Carney and a lot of others who I also know personally have decided not to run. Right? I have lots of respect for Minister François-Philippe Champagne. I would have thought he potentially could have righted the ship, but I think anyone who steps in right now will basically not be able to turn the tide.
Okay, so let's look at next steps here. So we know Parliament has been suspended until March 24th. So this does create an opportunity for the Liberal Party to regroup, right? And perhaps present a strong new leader. Are there any standout candidates who could spearhead a comeback here?
Yeah, as I said, there's only two people at the moment who seem to be front runners, Chrystia Freeland and Mark Carney, and both are very experienced. I don't think that they will be able to turn the tide. I think potentially a Quebec candidate is required for the Liberal Party to move forward, and I agree with some experts, some other experts on this one. But I think it's too little too late, and delaying an election and having a government that's not functioning will not strengthen the case of the Liberal Party.
Yeah. All right. So, Professor, let's draw a quick comparison with the U.S. now. So American voters recently re-elected Donald Trump, and reports have suggested that this is partly due to a desire for immediate action on domestic issues like cost of living and immigration. So do you think this political climate in the U.S. has in any way kind of influenced Canada's own political landscape?
Yeah, absolutely. It's influenced Canada's political landscape because the Canada is tied at the hip to the U.S. when it comes to business, predominantly. It is we will never be separated in that way from the United States because we are so close. Yet we are a relatively small country when it comes to population. We are a large country in terms of landmass, of course, but this doesn't matter right now. And I think Canadians are worried. I think for almost the first time in a very long time, Canadians are really worried about the almost anti-Canada stance, particularly when it comes to the Trump administration. Very different compared to his first running. He was basically pushing at that time already a bit against Canada, but this could be managed at this point in time. It's just worrisome, and that's what you hear in the streets in Canada. People are worried.
So, Andreas, speaking of, before you go, I have a quick question about the economy now. We know that Trump has proposed tariffs on imports from Canada, Mexico, China, and this is a move that analysts worry could have serious economic consequences for Canada. So with Trudeau still in office during Trump's first months, could navigating this uncertain kind of period help restore confidence in the Liberal Party ahead of the elections, you think?
My opinion is the opposite, because there will be no vote in Parliament. There will be no decision being made other than by, who's in power right now, or in quasi-power with Trudeau. I think it's the absolute opposite, and there will be a very open opposition against anything in Canada that is happening during that period of time, and I hope this will accelerate the period until we have the much-needed election we need right now. But the Liberal Party, absolutely right, is in shambles.
All right. Well, that was a great overview on Trudeau's resignation and how it marks a pivotal moment for Canadian politics, with the Liberal Party now facing the challenge of redefining itself ahead of the next election. Thank you so much, Professor Schotter, for your valuable insights today.
Thank you for having me.
We've been speaking with Andreas Schotter, Professor of International Business from the Ivey Business School at University of Western Ontario. Stay ahead with Money FM 89.3.
To listen to more great interviews, download our podcasts at audio.sg or download the audio app. That's AWEDIO, audio at the App Store and Google Play.